Hey, 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 this is Mary here at the Mod Squad. And with me today is Katie that laugh. Katie, you want to say hi?
Hi, how are you?
Okay, so we're going to start. And I hope, let me just see here. I'm, I'm doing the intro just to get us, started here. You can hear it?
Yes, I love it.
Okay, let me get rid of that. So it's been a while. It's almost like what? Like, I believe it's about a good month. I haven't been doing my podcast on my other I haven't been releasing a new episode of my other podcast because I took a break. Yes, I took a break. I was like, well, I'm dealing with a lot of stuff, girl. And
Tell us.
I have to like take care of me first, right? And then whatever I need to do. So today, let's talk about what we're going to discuss. One
Yes.
of them basically is health insurance. Why I want to talk about health insurance is because it's almost the end of the year. Some of us are renewing. I don't know when you guys renew, but for me, we're due to renew in November because
Mhm.
it's, you know what I mean? It's like a yearly thing. And the reason why I want to discuss health insurance is because I want to give some tips on what you guys need to do when your insurance keeps going up and up and up. Every year it's going to go up. And then
Oh,
we're
yeah.
also going to talk about kids. I've been noticing about like, um, I'm not going to generalize, but I think it's important for us parents to teach kids like good morals and values, as well as good work ethic. Because a lot of young ones right now, I don't know if it's the millennial or if it's a Gen Z. I don't know which generation. I think it's just whatever younger generation than us. Somehow they don't want to work hard. And then that's why they're moving from one job to another to another. They want more money, but they don't want to work, they don't want to work hard. So that's the second topic we're going to talk about. Last but not least, we're also going to talk about business. So, particularly, I want to share with you guys like some experience that I have. I mean, really, running a business is hard. Even looking for people that's going to work for you to make sure that they have integrity, that they're honest. I'm not even asking for loyalty because you can't really do that. I mean, I'm gonna be like realistic here. So, and even just managing them. Oh my gosh, it's such a headache.
It's like herding chickens. It's herding cows.
I, I hope people can hear us. You know what I mean? I
Yes.
should probably check. But guess what, folks? You know what we did last night? Me and Mike set it up and then we tested it on PDR Review platform just to make sure that the sounds and the videos, all that's like good to go. So we tested it. And today it's just like a minute ago. You were having a hard time with your microphone, right? You didn't have any sound. How did you
Uh-uh.
figure it out?
You sent me a new link and it worked.
Oh, oh my gosh!
You're
See, you
brilliant.
you know what it is because on Streamyard it said, hey, you can send copy the link and send an email, and it gives you the option on the bottom email. So the first time I sent you the link, I used that. But then I'm like, wait a minute, I want to cover my bases here. Maybe that thing is not working because that's the first time I'm using it.
Hmm.
So I'm like, let me just send it to you from my personal email. And it worked, right?
Yes. See,
Oh,
you're brilliant. We don't need Mike. He can go on vacation.
well, this always happens when when we have a business. Like if one doesn't work, then I'm like, wait a minute, maybe something's like new here. Let me try it the other way.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So tell me about you. It's been like a month since we've
Mhm.
spoken to because I've been busy and I'm like not posting as much either on social media. What about you?
Well, it was swim season starting August 1st, and now it's for the high school. It's winding down. We had our region meet Saturday, and the boys are three-time region champions in a row. So we're excited about that. Um, Prepping for state meet, which is next. The girls are next Saturday, which they have maybe one girl, but the boys are Monday. So
Mhm.
it's hard work, hard work, hard work. And you talk about ethic. it starts at that high school level.
Yes.
I'm seeing it. I mean, as a coach, I'm like, listen, if I acted like this or wanted it handed on a silver platter, it wouldn't have happened. They would have been like, bye, see ya, have a nice day. But
Well,
yeah.
well, for me, I think it should start even younger in high school year. You know what I mean?
Oh
Because
yeah.
the earlier you introduce it to them, that's all they're gonna know, and they're not gonna complain once they're like an adult or a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you guys a story. When I used to work for this well, wealthy people in LA, you know, because my mom said, "Oh, I'm gonna hook you up for a job, you know, yeah, for a good job, you know, in Los Angeles and la 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 la." So I did that, but what I found out, because in LA there's also you know, I always wonder, you know, there's a lot of Jewish people there and they're always successful. So I've always wondered, what makes them successful?
Mm-hmm.
Because I would like to get into their heads. And so that way I can get ahead as far as maybe changing my bad habits, you know, turning it around and make it a good habit, you know, you know, creating good habits for myself, as well as this is back then. I think this is like 40 years ago before I had kids. You know what I mean? so so I was literally like 21, 22 when I, you know, scored this job. So I was thinking too to myself that hey, I want to like start my kids, you know, early on in the right path, right? So I want to like watch what everyone's doing, what makes them successful, and I'm going to apply it to myself or to even my family, like in this case are my kids, you know. So when I was working for this wealthy family, I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling you, the mom and dad are always working. So the kids were left with the nannies. It's like she had three nannies, but
Oh wow.
we rotate. And she, you know, yeah, she had four kids. We rotated. So when one is off, then, you know, the other two's working. So we were rotating it. Okay. And so what I noticed was the kids come home from school, you know, they get picked up by you know, by the driver, and then they come home, and then from then on it doesn't stop. They have tutoring, they have swimming lesson, they have tennis lesson, and then I can see the kid, especially the younger one. I think the younger one was like 6, 7 years old. I can see that she just wants to relax and watch TV. But you know, the parent, the mom's talking to the instructor. Oh, how's she doing? Is she cooperative? Is she gonna like do this? Is it gonna happen because she skipped two lessons already? I mean, they came to the house, you know what I mean?
Oh
So
wow.
everything was like in the house. It's, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
This is how they do it. You don't take the kids to that, you know, whatever event it is. You know, that the instructor comes to your house.
Oh
So
my god.
they have a tennis court, they have like a big swimming pool, they have like everything in the house.
Wow.
So yeah. So anyway, you know, I tried to meddle in because I'm trying to convince this little kid. I'm like, come on, you know, I forget her name now. I'm like, come on, you know, your mom wants you to do like tennis lesson right now, because if we're not, then we're wasting time, and we're paying for the instructor. And then, you know, she's just like, I don't want to do it. Come on, why do I have to do it? And I said, why don't we just do it this time? And then you can take a break next time. You can tell your mom next time, like give you a little break. Yeah. So that's when I realized the reason why I'm sharing this with you guys, because that's when I realized that I'm like, wow, this is how they operate. It's like they start when the kids were little. They're
Mhm.
trying to already kind of like instill in them that you got to work hard, you got to do this, you got to do that so you can be better, you
Mhm.
know? So that was like an eye opening to me.
That's crazy. Cause yeah, I mean, we put Ella in the shop this summer and had her do like, some of the stuff up front, just greeting the customers, I mean, or sweeping the shop, or, stuff like that, to try and teach her, hey, now you gotta do this stuff, because it's part of work, it's part of life. So
Has she
that's
given you attitude yet?
oh honey. Yes, girl. I don't think there's enough alcohol in the United States to help me get through this nonsense. Whew. Yes. Mom, I don't want okay. Ella, please. No, no, we're not doing this today. Nope, mom don't do this. What, you wanna go shopping? No, we're not going shopping with your gift card you got for your birthday because of your attitude. The hormones are raging in this house.
Uh, well, what after I saw that, I was like, okay, I'll take like a thing or two from that. And so early on, I started with my kids when they're little. I tried to kind of instill in them that, hey, every Saturday we need to do some house cleaning or room cleaning in their cases, right? Because they were little. And then that's when we did like shopping and stuff. And then we would go out to like on a Sunday. Because Mike used to work Monday through Saturday. So while he's doing some dents or some customers on a Saturday, then I'm like doing this with the kids. And then on a Sunday, then that's when we go, you know what, that's when we used to go out. Like we used to have like all the passes in the world, like Legoland, SeaWorld, Disneyland, the zoo. It's like we had a lot of things to do back then. And I kind of appreciate that because you can't take those back. I mean, now, you know what's weird is that now with my youngest one, she doesn't want to do any of those stuff. She would rather hang out with her friends. It's the weirdest thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't be able to tell you only have one.
Listen, Ella met Ella's on a new soccer team this year, and it's crazy because the one friend that she's friends with is like almost my boss. She's the principal of the school that I coach at. I'm
Hmm.
like, oh, this is great, you know. Um, but she goes to me today. They go, well, we don't have our tournament this weekend, so can we hang out? I'm like, oh, I guess you guys are making play. I guess so. I was like, I have to coach, but sure, you know, like, Ella, you want to do something? I said, hey, Ella, you want to do something with mom? Well, I don't know. I think I want
I think she's at that age, you know what I mean, where she's like, okay, I'd rather hang out with some cool people, like like friends, not my family. Mike warned me about that there would be like, you know, a time or like when the kids like when they're in a certain age that they don't want to hang out with their parents anymore. And
Mhm.
I couldn't understand that, but now I'm just like weird. But anyway.
I can't. I'm just, it's hard because she was homeschooled last year. So she was with me all last year. So we did stuff. And now that she's not,
Uh-huh.
I'm like, okay, I look forward to the weekend. Let's hang out together. No. Oh, you want to go get your trip? No. Okay. Well, what do you want to do with me? Nothing. Go take me to tropical smoothie. All right, let's go to tropical smoothie.
So let's go back to like, instilling good morals and values to our kids. I am seeing more and more like kids that I think have a certain expectation, like more money, work less, more things, but they don't want to like pay the dues. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking in my head, well, obviously the parents are making this happen for them, giving them money, making it easy for them to have access to, clothes, expensive clothes, or, you know what I mean? Or just clothes that they want without having to work. And, and I'm the type of person that I usually step back and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm seeing a pattern here, or I'm seeing something here. This is even going to be good in the future. And I'm just realizing that if we don't teach our kids these things that I talked about, more, good morals, and, to have good morals and values and like good work ethics, I don't know if they're gonna make it. As an adult, they're gonna have a hard time because I remember when I was growing up, these are the stuff that was instilled in me. And I don't know how the parenting is now out there. I mean, have you like noticed something like that?
I've noticed a lot, and I think I'm noticing it in especially the Ella's age group because Ella's now starting to get into the Lululemon.
Uh
Oh,
huh.
help us, makeup and stuff, and I'm watching a lot of these parents just hand out stuff where I'm like, Ella, if you want something from go in my closet, what, or hey, you want something? Well, we're gonna go to the sale rack. We're
Hmm.
not gonna pay full price for that. Or hey, you did X, Y, and Z. You clean the cat's litter for 2 weeks, so you can
Hmm.
get a sports bra or something.
Hmm.
I've noticed also with us is I don't. I know it starts at a younger age because when she doesn't always want stuff when we go out. And I notice a
Mhm.
lot of kids always, oh, well, here you go, here you go, here you go. They're crying, here you go, and it starts there. So now they know how to work the parents to get
What they
what they.
want.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Exactly. So I think it starts even younger, and then now they want the finer things because they say, oh, well, my friend has this, or my friend's 10 times rich and she drives this car, so I need to have this, a car like
Mhm.
that. And it's like, no, you're not going to get it. Let's work for it.
Mm.
Or
Mhm.
they don't want to work for it. You know what? They don't understand the value of a dollar.
Well, do you think that has something to do with because we didn't instill that in them, that that, hey, you see your parents working all the time or working hard because we want to provide for you, but with that, don't take it for granted, or you got to work harder. Because I remember, like my grandma, there's some like a point in my life that I think a few years that I live with my grandma. And those folks, they lived through like World War II. Even my mom
Hmm.
told me that when she was living with her grandma, everything has to be like, I guess, control, like food wise, portion control, like how much they spend, where they buy. And so my mom was like telling us these stories, as I was growing up. And I was just like, oh, wow. And even with my grandma, I remember she'll be like, look, here's the budget. You're going to go to the grocery and buy food for, let's say, a day or two for us. Cause, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to a restaurant, and she tells me how much is it. She said, "This is what you're gonna spend for the fish. This is what you're gonna spend for the beef. This is what you're gonna spend." Because this was in the Philippines, by the way. Because back then in the Philippines, everything is like kilos. You buy it fresh, so it's in kilo. And then she taught me like she said, make sure that you're walking around so you're getting the I guess the more bang for your buck, right? Like
Right.
you're not gonna buy the most expensive one because it's closer to you. That's why she wants me to walk around which one's got the best, I don't know, bargain or something, even for meat and fish. And so yeah, so either I'm stuck in that time, I guess, or I'm looking at all the wasting going on. I
Yeah.
don't A lot of wasting going on, I think.
Yes. Or I feel like these kids, some of these kids, and I see it just because I coach high school, so it's easier for me to see it because it's their
Mhm.
they're trying to be something they're not. So therefore they just go and buy and do, and then they figure out, oh, I'm not that person, and then it just goes to Goodwill. Or, oh, well, I grew out of this Lululemon or Louis Vuitton, so now I'm going to go get another. Mommy, take me to the store.
Mhm.
Or, you know, I don't want this car because it's not the same color, so go get me a new. Like, I'm, they don't they don't understand that their parents are out there. And I'll use Dave for example because we just had Ella's birthday party this weekend. We got a bounce house or a water slide. It was $500. It was
Mhm.
crazy. It's gone up in price because of like everything. And I was like, Ella, do you understand how hard your dad has to work to make this because he now has a shop and he's not chasing hail? I said, he has to work, he has to fix 1 inch dent 5 times for us to have that bounce house. And she's like, oh. I was like, yeah. I was like, it's not just, you can't just get what you want. So,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. Well, I think when you like I hate to say the word spoil, but for me that's how I see it. I think
mhm,
when parents spoil the kids, you're only teaching them and enabling them to be lazy.
mhm,
Then you're teaching them to not know how to like be resourceful. You know
mhm,
what I'm saying? So
mhm,
when they actually grow up and they're out there in the real world, they don't know how to like survive without having to, let's say, you know, uh cheat, or maybe um I would say like kiss ass on someone, you know what I
yes.
mean?
Mhm,
Because in I've seen it in I'm not saying it's here, but in other culture, I've seen it where there's a lot of kissing ass going on. So that way, oh, okay, that person is hooked up, meaning that person is like wealthy. I'm gonna like kiss that person ass, so because maybe I can. Oh, who's this? Somebody said something. Oh, that's you,
No, it's not me.
Katie. I'm in. Oh, okay. What's up, man? Katie, I'm in. Oh, cool. Hi, guys.
I don't know who it is. Who
I
is?
don't know either. I thought it was you because I yelled like, "So what's me, Katie?"
That's what I said. What's up, Mary?
Welcome.
Hello, whoever you are.
Exactly. So anyway, my point is that I've seen it, okay, where they see like a person with, money and they say, "Oh, I'm going to kiss that person's ass so that way I can get hooked up too." Maybe like be introduced to, some wealthy people or maybe like people with status, that, you know what I mean? It's like that's how they know how to thrive. They don't.
Exactly.
Me, on the other hand, my mindset is, look, you got to put in your dues, you got to work hard, and apply yourself. And so when you go out there and then you move up and you become successful, then it's a true value and it's a valid success. It's not a success that you use people to get up there.
Mm-hmm.
That's just maybe I'm just still
No,
stuck in the old ways. You know what I
no,
mean?
no. I see it all the time. Or they're looking for, I hate to use the word, a sugar daddy or somebody to take care of
Oh
them.
my gosh. Don't even get me with the sugar daddy. There's a lot of them over there. And then I'm just like, girl, what are you doing? You should be
Exactly.
like being independent.
Mm-hmm.
Don't allow yourself to, I'm just saying, don't allow yourself to get used that way. You don't even want to start
Well,
me on that
no,
sugar
but
daddy thing.
it's like you love Mike and I love Dave dearly, and I never. But if I had to stand on my own 2 feet tomorrow, I
Uh-huh.
could. I'm,
Uh-huh.
I'm married, but I'm still independent. If that makes any sense.
Yes.
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 Yes, and that's the way I want to teach Ella. Yes, if you find the right person, great, but you're going to be independent. You're not going to rely on anybody but yourself to
Uh-huh.
get you to where you need to be.
Yeah, well, right now I've seen it that there's a lot of like younger women that are pretty hooking up with an older man with money.
Mm-hmm.
But then they don't realize that when you do that, you lose a piece of yourself because that older man is going to try to control you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because they're looking at those girls that are younger than them that, oh, she's naive. Oh, she's ignorant. Oh, a man with that status are used to like taking control. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So that's what usually happen in a relationship like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm. And you're unhappy. They're not happy. They're just knowing that I can go out and buy whatever I want and do whatever I want, but I'm really not happy in the end.
Hmm.
It's
Well,
about being happy.
that's the part probably where they haven't really realized it yet or of who they are as a woman. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, when I was like, that's why they call it the I stage. The I stage means like, who am I? What am I? What's my purpose here? Can I even do that? I went through an I stage and I talked about this on my previous episodes where I'm like questioning my purpose in life here. I mean, I'm here for a reason. And
Mm-hmm.
so if that's the case, then I want to make sure that I'm not going to waste the time, that I'm going to like be productive, a productive citizen, to whether it's my purpose is to help someone or to make a difference on someone. Speaking of that, um, a friend of mine called me last night. It was so unusual because she doesn't usually call me at night because she knows that, hey, it's late. She also sleeps early because she gets up early. So I'm like, maybe there's an emergency. So I picked it up and she said, Mary, I'm like, what? You know that my friend knows you. And I'm like, really? I'm like, okay, we're friends, but we don't really hang out. You know what I mean? She
Right.
was my ex roommate, by the way. When I was in college, she was
Oh wow.
my roommate. But once in a while, like whenever she's available, she come and help out to do my books because when I hired someone, I don't want to be off track, but when I hired someone to do this stuff, I had to fire that person 2 or 3 months after because she did something. But anyway, so now I have a friend of mine that I can trust that helps me out, like maybe once a month or twice a month to do my books, to help me enter stuff. And so she called me. She said, "Oh, my friend knows you." And so I was surprised when she said that. And then I was like, "Oh, who is it?" And then she, named the person. And I said, "Oh, it rings a bell, but I just can't remember who this person is." And then she said, "Oh, Katie, you disappear."
Somebody called, so I declined it.
Oh, okay. So she said, "Oh, it's where your older kids used to
Used
go
to go
to
to
school."
school.
It's
And I
And
said,
I said,
"Oh,
oh,
oh, what
oh,
happened?
what
There's an
happened?
echo
There's an
now.
echo now.
I hear you.
There's an echo.
There's an echo.
I don't hear it.
You don't hear the
Am
You
echo?"
don't hear the echo?
Sorry, I don't have an answer to that.
well, my echo heard you.
Alexa,
Alexa,
tell Alexa
tell
to be
Alexa to be
quiet.
quiet.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God.
So
So
anyway, long
anyway, long
story
story
short,
short,
I made an
I
impression on this woman that she still remember me. Oh, okay. You came back on again.
Yeah, it's. I'm gonna have to get Dave to tell this person to
No, no,
stop
no, no.
calling.
It's good. No, no, no. It's good. Oh,
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
is that like a work call?
Whitmore, I'm on a podcast. Thank you. The next door neighbor keeps calling and calling and calling. So
Oh, okay.
I'm like, yeah. So
Oh.
I'm like, stop calling me. Handle
In the middle
it,
of our
husband.
podcast. Yeah.
Yes. I'm
So
like,
anyway,
people.
I must have left a good impression because she still remembers me. She said, yeah, she's got two older kids and she threw some kind of a luncheon at school. And I was like, yeah, because I only did that one time. She remembers everything. And I was like, oh my gosh. So the moral of the story is when you do something good, people remember it.
Mhm.
Obviously they're going to remember the good stuff more than the bad things, right? So somehow I don't remember her, but she remembers me. So just going back on that
Right.
topic. I know.
And that's the thing. A lot of people these days think more negatively than they do positively. I've noticed that too. Like why dwell on the negative thing or aspect when you can just move past it and be more positive? I've noticed that. Like,
I've always said to like spread more positive things than negative, but I think maybe because people crave the negativity because it's drama. I don't know why. I mean, don't get me wrong. I watch, like a reality show, but I don't like. I don't look for the drama. I look for how where these women are going. Like places, what they're doing. Da 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 da. Da. So that's what that's why I watch some of this reality
oh,
show.
so why? I'm like, okay, where are they going? Like the one right now is Southern Charm, and Charleston is only about
I
an
used to
hour.
watch that.
It's only about an
Southern
hour and
Charm.
a half from here, so
I
I watched. Oh well, where'd they go?
first
Where are they hanging
season.
out? Like,
First
oh,
season.
like I can't hang out there because I'm like I'm too old. But I'm like, oh, that restaurant looks good. Next time I'm down there for Ella
Yes.
Soccer, we'll go there.
And then it kind of give me an insight. Maybe we can ask who is it? The person that was I can ask Kenny because Kenny's from South Carolina. Is it
Mhm.
South or North? I don't remember.
Mhm.
Somewhere around there. But um it kind of gave me an idea of the culture in that state. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't know sometimes because I was like, oh my gosh, this thing is scandalous. Okay. But then what I found out is that I thought that they're conservative, but then they can be like conservative scandalous.
Oh yes, honey. Welcome
Conservative
to the South.
scandalous? How is that
Welcome
so?
to the South.
But how is that so? Because when you're conservative, you should be like reserved. How can you be scandalous when you're conservative? That I don't get
Oh,
that.
bless your heart, honey. Yes, you can. They're very scandalous. Don't think just because we're from the Southern Belle that we're not. Oh, Lord, yes.
You think?
Oh, I know. I'm down
Oh,
here. Oh,
maybe
yes.
maybe I'm naive in a way that I'm like maybe because I haven't surrounded myself with people that are like that scandalous or drama. You know what I mean? Because I'm a no nonsense kind of person. So I just I stay away.
Listen, I try to stay away, but it's everywhere. I mean, yes, it's everywhere. It's
So
everywhere.
that's
Even
why I'm
my
like
family,
saying, how can you
my
be
family
conservative but
even
then
has it.
scandalous? That doesn't make sense. I mean, it's like contradicting each other.
Well, you're from the South. That's in a nutshell. Come down here and I'll go show you. You'll be like, huh?
Well,
You'll be like, what?
uh,
Wait a second. What just happened?
oh my gosh. Yeah, I used to watch yep. I used to watch that reality show all the time and up until to the part where it got really really crazy because everyone's sleeping with each other. Oh,
Oh,
I don't agree with
what
that.
else is
So I
new?
was like, okay, I can't handle that.
They still are, believe me. But
So I don't know how you like you just basically recycle the guys, or even the girls. It's
oh, it is. That's all they're doing is recycling each other.
I, oh my gosh. I mean, I can talk about relationship. There are certain things that we don't do when you're in a relationship. Another Facebook user, I don't know who it is either. But
Hello, whoever you are.
but yeah, there's certain things that I like for me like a do's and a don'ts, when you're dating or even when you're married, it's like you can't go out and recycle like the guys in your group. It's just because especially the guys, if girls or if women doesn't think that they talk about girls, they do behind their backs, or you know what I mean, it's like they just do. But moving on, so let's talk about um I think, before we actually move on, what would you consider like a good morals and values? I just want to make sure that we kind of like share this with some of our listeners, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what
Be,
what what
being
would you be consider?
honest is the biggest one that I preach. Being honest and being loyal are the biggest two that
Mhm.
I preach to Ella because it's, I mean, that's and a good work, a good work ethic. That's another one. But definitely, being honest because above and beyond, if you can't be honest, then you're not being honest with yourself. You're not being honest with everyone else. And above
Mhm.
all, you're not being honest with God. So
Mhm.
that's the biggest one.
So first of all, you said being honest, and then what else?
Being loyal.
Being loyal. Okay. For
Mm-hmm.
me, yes, number one is to be honest, have integrity,
Mm-hmm.
and let's see here, and just have compassion. Be compassionate towards others, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if Jesus was able to forgive and have compassion to others, even his enemies, well, why can't we? How can we say that we're Christian or Catholic or some other religion if we can't even like do that? You know what I mean? If we can't even practice that.
Yeah, that's hard because like for me, I can forgive someone, but then it's hard to forget.
Yes. You can forgive, but you don't have to forget. You know what I
Right.
mean? I'm the same
Right.
way. Or sometimes I can be cordial because this is what I tell, people. I can be cordial and be appropriate, but forgiving. And I have talked to God about this because I said, you know what? I know that this is what Christian people are preaching out there, but you know what? I'm not ready to forgive, especially if you did me wrong big time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not ready to forgive. I'm not there yet, I mean, and I definitely will never forget.
Oh, I don't forget anything. Even when Dave and I'll have our little tiffs and he's like, seriously? I'm like, well, I didn't forget, but seriously?
Here's the thing though, I don't dwell because I think dwelling on a bad situation or like let's say bad argument is not going to serve us good. You know what I mean? I can, as long as I said my piece, let's move on and let's have some kind of a resolution. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that way we can like say, hey, I closed, the door on that issue. Let's move on to the next one.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you need to have some kind of a, reconciliation, right?
Right.
So that way you can like, I guess, true to yourself and focus on what's coming up. Because
Right.
if you don't have a reconciliation, then you're like stuck. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And it keeps going and going and going and going.
Yes. Yes. And then being honest. Yeah. That's the one thing that I also teach my kids, to be honest and to do good, and
Mhm.
to speak up when you need to speak up. Because when I was growing up in the 80s over here, they always say, hey, if somebody's getting bullied, or if you think that that's not right, then you need to speak up, because if you don't speak up, then you're complicit.
Right.
you know
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, and then also having the integrity, right?
Mhm.
The reason why I'm bringing this up is because there's a situation where, you know, I hire and I screen people who's going to work for us to make sure that they're going to do a good job, right? So
Right.
when I'm busy, like there was a situation where, oh, there's another Facebook user, but they're not saying anything. So please, folks, if
Tell
you
us
guys
who
are
you are.
here, let us know who you are.
Mhm.
Yeah. So anyway, what ended up happening is that, so I screen them. I make sure that they the best fit to work for us. But somehow, I think this is where the work ethic comes in, and maybe like integrity there, or maybe people have integrity and then they just kind of like loosen up and drop the ball. You know what I mean?
Right.
But so I hired this guy and I interviewed him even before I hired him. He's like my bookkeeper, right?
Mhm.
And then so he dropped the ball. He didn't file a form that he should be filing every year. And so I talked to him about it, because now I'm going to end up fixing it. Because now I'm like in the defense here, or I'm like kind of like, wait a minute, uh, I'm now alert. Should I even have him do this to correct to correct the problem? Because
Mm.
if he didn't do what he's supposed to do the first time, what kind of assurance am I going to get that he's going to do the right thing as far as fixing that problem? So I'm
Right.
kind of like on the offense. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Um, but I had a conversation with him, and then what he said to me was, he said, "Well, this is how we've been doing it in the past. I didn't think that." He's implying that I didn't think you're going to be anal, or you're going to be like want detailed stuff, how things should be done correctly. I mean, I just said anal is because, I want everything to be done the way they should be.
Yes.
So that way, if you
It's
get,
coming with the IRS and the government. Absolutely.
yeah, so if things goes haywire, then we have the leverage to say, hey, this is our argument. The mistake's not on our end, right? So
Mhm.
I have a leverage to argue. So, and if you take that away from me, then I wouldn't have any of that, right? So basically he said, well, la 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 la. And I said, look, I'm dealing with something in the past, and that's why I hired you. Otherwise, I can do what I ask you, what I hired you for. But because I'm also dealing with multiple businesses, the other two business, then I want you to deal with just this one particular one. So I told him that I wanted you to do what you're supposed to do as a bookkeeper. You know what I mean?
That's what I
And
hired you for.
yeah, and he's thinking in his mind is that, oh, maybe she's relaxed, so I'm gonna be relaxed too. But that's not how it should be. You know what I mean? It's called integrity. If this is what you you hired to do, then you're supposed to do it like 110%.
Mhm.
Don't don't drop the ball on me because you didn't think that I was gonna like question it later on, or questioning at the moment. You know what I mean? Yeah. And
That's it.
so now I have
Yep.
to fix that.
Mm. Ugh. People, they make more work for us than we should just do it ourselves.
Tell me about it. Somebody once told me, Katie, if you want the job to be done correctly or to be done right, you're going to have to do it yourself.
Mhm.
Because when you hire people, doesn't matter who they are, whether they're professional or not, they're not going to do as good of a job as we are. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mm.
So that's why I was like, oh man,
More work for me.
I know, right? Right. So that's why I'm always careful. But then sometimes, even when you're careful, things still like go haywire.
Oh
That's
yeah.
why I mean, you guys started recently? Probably what, 2 years now, or is it 3 years?
We've been
Having your business, having
20, yeah, it's been 3 years now. 3 years.
running your own business.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of work that goes into that.
Yes, and Dave is finding that out because during swim season I step away because I just cannot concentrate on both. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm running to the school, I'm answering emails, I'm writing lineups, I'm writing workouts, I'm putting out parent fires, whatever that may look like. And I know that I can't give 110% to the business, so I have to step
Mhm.
away. But and he just knows that. So, and then when we hired Felipe, who left us, he was I mean, he was amazing.
Mhm.
Amazing. He got sloppy toward the end when he was leaving because he was moving away. But,
Mhm.
that's, and I wouldn't say like sloppy to it damage our reputation, but just, not as
You
good.
slack off.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
That's a better word for
I had those two, I had those guys before,
it.
because
Hmm.
they're leaving, so they slack off.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. But we haven't hired anyone since then. It's just been Dave and I because no one's going to do it as good as us.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing with me. That's why I have to now. I mean, I'm already organized, but then now I have to be more organized. It's like working out on steroids. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Being on steroids, like you're working out. It's like that.
Yeah.
It's like because I'm always thinking in my head, okay, I'm organized now, but then I want to be ahead. I don't want to be like behind. So that way I'm not worried. So now what else can I do? So I'm like
Exactly.
constantly thinking.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wish it would be like back in the like 80s or 90s where people have accountability and integrity, because I remember when I used to work back then, when I got trained and they expect you to be doing good, like they this is what they expect you to do. I made sure that I was doing my part. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I've seen
Hmm.
it from other people too.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I think we're more relaxed in that sense now, whereas I don't know. It's a different
It's
time.
it is. It's different times, and I feel like our parents raised us a certain way.
Mhm.
So we're going to raise our kids a certain way. But I feel like there's a generation between that, I don't know, weren't raised. I don't even know if that's
Well,
the
we're
word.
Generation X. Are
Yeah,
you like close to my age? Okay, so search Generation X, then there's the millennials,
right.
and then there's the Gen Z. The
Right.
Gen Z are like, my kids and all that stuff, right?
Hmm.
So there's the millennials. So, but somehow from when our generation, we learned it from the greatest generation,
Right.
working hard, da 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 da. And then I don't know, is it according to my son?
Hmm.
I'm not finger pointing, at a certain generation. According to my son, it's like the millennial maybe like, I don't know, slacking off. I don't know, right? But
Hmm.
this is just what he will observe, and he's entitled to his own opinion. Because
Right.
I'm trying to figure out where in the generation did we start having problems with some of these people and work. You know what I mean?
Right. I have no idea. I mean, it like I can't. I try to figure out what generation it truly is because you know my I see that the way I was raised was the older generation, but it's and it may not be every single family, like the way your son falls in the millennial category, I think, right? Yes, no,
No, he's a Gen Z.
Gen Z. So
Uh-huh.
it must just be the millennials. It must just be that bracket, not I don't know.
No, here's the thing. Not every millennials are like this,
Right.
but I think we're seeing some, because I've known some millennials that are like hard workers, but then
Right.
somehow I'm seeing the ones that are like really don't want to work. I just think that maybe because also the with the technology, they're thinking that hey, they're on the technology, they're not raised to like go out there and da 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 da. That's why with
Yeah.
my kids, I make them go out, and then I'm like, okay, no more technology for you, blah 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 blah. And then also they're probably thinking that, hey, I can make money the easiest way, so why work hard?
Right.
Ye-
Right. Or like I see them, yeah, they take advantage. I shouldn't say, I see a lot of people wanting to take advantage of the system too, where you are very capable of getting a job,
uh-huh.
but instead you're going to sit home and be lazy and sit in your sweatpants and collect a check that you have 2 feet, you have a degree,
Mhm.
and there's nothing that's stopping you besides you being lazy to get a job.
Mhm. Mhm. I think there's a lot of factors that goes into this, like one would be like parenting style,
Hmm.
right? The parents probably enable these kids or probably spoil the kids when they were growing up that, hey, like gave them stuff rather than having them earned it,
Right.
you know? Like with my kids, when they have like Christmas money, like birthday monies and whatever money, right? I make them put it in their savings or the bank, and then if they want to buy something, then like let's say if it's expensive like Lululemon, then they're spending their own money rather than our money. You
Right.
know what I mean? So
Hmm.
that way they know the value of a dollar.
Like if
So
we're out, like if Ella and I are out, which is another, like, she knows she's got money at home. Oh mom, we're out. Can I get this? I'm like, okay, well, how much money do you have at home? Okay, you have enough. All right, I will get it for you. But as soon as we get home, you march right upstairs and you give me the money for it.
mhm,
So she's still having to pay for it, even though I paid for it up front and we got home and she
mhm.
paid for it, which I see a lot of parents don't, or a lot of her friends' parents don't follow through with that.
Yeah, they don't. I'm seeing a lot of parents like letting their kids get away with a lot of stuff. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And then when they want something, they give it to them so easily.
Hmm.
And that's when I'm like, "Oh, man, you don't know what's gonna happen, don't do that." And then once they become an adult and they don't wanna do anything, then the parents kinda wonder, "Why are the kids like that?" Well,
Hmm.
because you raised them to be like that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And,
Hmm.
and I've seen a lot of this actually when I was, when I was in the Philippines, a lot of parents when they have kids there, especially the wealthy one, they spoil their kids. So when they spoil their kids, I'm talking about spoiling their kids. They have maid, they have driver, la 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 la. La. I'm serious, Katie. Next time I have a timeshare in the Philippines. Let's go. Next time you and Dave can go. And I'm telling you,
Anytime.
it doesn't take that much money for you to have a maid 24/7. Yes, the maid can live with you. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yes. So anyway, so the kids get spoiled. And then not only that, instead of the kids resolving their own problems, the parents are doing it for them. So once they become an adult, they're really dependent on the parents. And so the parents enable them to be dependent on them. And then they kind of wonder why the kids are not successful. Well, because this is what you instilled in them
Exactly.
you know
Uh,
yeah, so it's just yeah, it's just horrible. I mean, I'm not just saying it's the Philippines. I'm sure other countries doing it out there too, but us over here in America, it's like a mix, because we have different cultures, so it's like a mix here.
hmm.
um that and somebody once told me before that, hey, when you run a business or when you own a business, you don't want to micromanage your employees. Well, folks, good luck because I don't know.
Element TV.
They said I used to hear it from the guys that was doing podcasts. They said, oh, if you hire somebody, you don't need to micromanage people. That is not true. You know why? Because when you own a company and you hire different types of people with different background or different experience or different upbringing, not everyone's going to be the same. There's going to be that are like lazy or just mediocre lazy or hard worker. But to find a hard worker nowadays is really hard. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, what do you end up doing when you have your own business? You end up micromanaging them because you think that you're going to empower them. And that's what I did. I try to empower my people, but somehow we go back to like, oh, I gotta like make sure this thing is run this way. And I don't want to micromanage. I think I had a conversation with Dave once before, and he said, this is why we don't have a lot of people working for us. We don't want to micromanage them.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. That's exactly what he does. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to be able to let them go and go to work and, do what they're supposed to do. And I said, good luck, honey. That's why it's just you and I.
But then here's the thing, Katie, how do you like scale, and level up if it's always just certain amount of people? That's why, you keep hiring, because that way you grow a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, there's pros and cons. Jeez.
Yeah. And there's another guy, that started in the area, and we tried to bring him on for, a couple things. And
Mhm.
I asked Dave, he went to a Kiko training or did a Kiko training. And I said, have you heard from the guy? He's like, no. And I'm like, did he come in to learn how you're being so successful, or did he actually really want to work with us? Like,
Mhm. That's good questions.
how do you know at the end of the day what these people are doing? Because our market is not saturated with dent guys.
Mhm.
Been here the longest. We've had the reviews, and yes, some are starting to move down here, but we've established ourselves in the reputation that we have. So
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So, folks, I guess I'll end it with this particular topic. At some point, you're always gonna end up micromanaging, because if you plan to, I mean, we've been in business for like 21 years. We
oh
started in
wow.
'01. What is it now? 23, 22 years. So we've been in business for 22 years. We started with just me and Mike, and then obviously we have more people. But yeah, when you're running your company, at some point you're going to end up micromanaging, and that's
Mhm,
okay.
mhm.
But the goal is to not do that, right? But that's why you got to bring everybody, towards the same goal. Bring everyone to work to what it is that you guys are trying to achieve.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's hard because sometimes an employee doesn't see that goal that you do. They may
Mhm.
have that drive. Yes, they're a great, we'll use tech
Mhm.
or a great tech, but they just don't see the end. They're not goal driven like you and I. And that can
Yeah.
be hard as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that should be a next topic. What would make a person goal driven? I don't know. For me, I'm just always like driven to do bigger things.
Hmm. It was, yeah. I mean, like for coaching, for right now, because that's where I'm at, I wanted to win another championship.
Yeah.
So we did it. And now we're, moving on to state. Like next year, I'll look at the kids and look at what the season looks like, and I'll set the goal at
Uh-huh.
that point. But I'm always, trying to set the goal and set the standard
Mhm.
to, whatever my next goal will be. I have to
Yeah.
start setting goals again because I'm turning 45 on October 20th, so I need to start setting some goals.
Oh, that would be great if you guys win state. You get to like you get some kind of what, a trophy or something?
They do it individually because our you have to qualify for state individual, but we
Mhm.
don't. Myrtle Beach is so small, we don't get like the upper states do in 4A.
Yeah.
So our goal is usually just to win an individual event, and I have a kid that's seated first now in the 200 IM.
Mhm.
I have another, he's seated third in the 100 breast.
Mhm.
We've got relays that could podium, so that's our goal, is to go up there and podium. So that's what we're training for.
Wow, that's
Hmm.
good. I remember those days when I used to do it with the 2 older kids. That was fun. I mean, even though it was a lot of work, it was like fun because it was like memories, you know what I mean? It's like, and you get to meet and vibe with the other swimmers, your kids swim mates.
Oh
And
yeah.
then they used to call me Mrs. Toledo, Mrs. Toledo. And then there's this one kid who loves to mess with me. It's like, Mrs. Toledo. And I'm like, kids, what do you guys want? You guys want some food? You guys want to do this?
You
You
need
know?
a new suit? What, I mean, what?
Uh,
Mm.
It's funny. They used to call me just like, Mrs. Toledo, Mrs. Toledo. It's so funny.
It's Coach Katie,
Okay.
Coach Katie, Coach Katie, Coach Katie. If I hear Coach Katie one more time, I'm gonna die. Please.
I love it though because the way they it's a sign of respect, Mrs. Toledo, rather than just Toledo or like Mary, right? So it's a
Mhm.
sign of respect. I mean, Coach, that's even better. Coach Katie, Coach Katie.
I
Ah.
hear it in my sleep. I'm like, what? What? Wait, forget. Oh my gosh. The best is
Ah.
trying to count kids on a bus to make sure you have them all and not leaving one. That's a chore.
And then if you guys win, probably the same experience we had, it's such a good feeling.
Oh
It's
yes.
like, yes, we kick some ass,
Yes. Yep. Oh yeah. We'll have some fun.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Hmm.
Okay, last topic, health insurance. Okay. So do you guys I know, right?
It's
Do
just
you,
right
do
in
you
the
guys buy
trend.
your own health insurance?
We have, well, obviously being an independent contractor, we have to use what they call South Carolina Marketplace. And
Mhm.
um it kept, I'll tell you the story. It was last year and I'm like, wait a second. There's three of us and we're gonna pay over $1,300 for just basic health insurance. And every time we go to the doctor, we gotta pay something. Medicine's not cut, it's just to cut,
Mhm.
So I found a broker and he
Mhm.
actually took our income and
Mhm.
asked what we were projected to make
Mhm.
this year. And so
Mhm.
I guess on the high side.
Mhm.
And then that's how he came up with our health insurance payment. So it's half of what it was going to be.
Really? That's what I suggested and advise people rather than you looking for the insurance company. It's better for you to hook up with a broker because they have access to other things that we don't. And then they can compare and then they can say, hey, do you want this? Right? So that's how I did it, like back, I don't know, in '01, like when we first started. I like shop around and I learned also right away that you can't just call Blue Cross and say, "Hey, I want to be insured." You have to go through a broker. That's what I learned way 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 back then. And then from there, my broker is like giving me an option, "Hey, this and this and that, what do you want?" blah 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 blah. So she would come up with like the most affordable for us because we're a family of 5, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then here's the thing too. Every year they go up.
Hmm.
This year, I think if I'm gonna stay with the same plan, I think it's gonna go up like 23%. You know what I mean? But even with that, I think it's reasonable because when you said you were paying 1,300, yours was high compared to us. And you guys are, a party of three, and we're only like, I mean not the party, a family of three, and we're only, we're a family of 5. So my thing is, of course, to keep the cost down when when you own a business, that's what your goal is. And so I usually watch it closely, how much it's going to go up. And then I I'm going to share some tricks with you guys, I think there was a time where I was hearing a lot of people complaining about insurance going up, blah, 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 blah. We can't afford it. Da, 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 da. Then I got creative. I said to myself, okay, I know the goal is to have your premium very low, but then also if that's going to happen, then sometimes your deductible is low. That's why you're paying it on your premium, upfront. But then I thought about it. Wait a minute. This was like 20 years ago. Mike and I were young, kids were small. So obviously I want the regular, checkup or check doctor's visit cover. But for me and Mike, we're pretty good. We're healthy. Like knock on wood. This is not a wood.
You're my head.
I don't have any wood here. But anyway, so I told myself in order for me, I got creative. In order for me to keep my premium down, then I have to like, sacrifice something. This is what I learned. I always say this. It's like this is what I learned in economics class. You have to give up something to gain something. So I said to myself, okay, I can't have it both ways. So I want the premium lower, obviously, to make it affordable for us every month. Then obviously the deductible is going to go a little higher, and that's okay because it's not like we're at the doctor's office for bigger things all the time anyway. So how many you should really look at your family. How often do we go to the doctor or the hospital to use that deductible? You know what I mean?
Right.
Probably it's just office visit yearly. So that's what I did. I played around with it. I would rather have a lower premium and then a higher deductible. And then obviously as we get older, it's going to be opposite. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we have, but still, it's just ridiculous because we don't get to choose our insurance carrier because he's an independent contractor. We have to go with the marketplace. Like we don't have a choice.
Really?
Hmm.
What? What do you mean?
Yes, I'm telling you.
How many insurance companies do you guys have in your state that offers insurance?
We have. I'd have to go back and I don't know off the top of my head, but I have to do it. But no, his because of his and the broker told us that like we wanted to go
Mhm,
elsewhere and see what we could do, but mm-mm.
mhm. Mike keeps calling me. Hold on, okay?
Okay.
Hello, Mike. I'm on a podcast.
Oh, so sorry, Mom. I forgot. That, now you know how it feels because you call me all
Our
Folks, this
caller
is
of
my
the day,
husband, Mike Toledo.
and we're talking about what do you think about health insurance?
the time.
Mike?
Yeah. Oh, good. Like at least somebody in our family's doing podcasts.
Okay, I'm almost done.
Whatever.
Okay, bye. Yeah, he stopped doing a podcast too because he was doing. I told him you're gonna get burned out. You were doing like two a month, or was it? I think at one point it was like every week, and I
Oh,
said, "Dude, we are busy, and you're gonna do a podcast every week. That's just way too much. You're gonna get burned out." Yeah.
yeah.
So he took a break, and then also even with his videos, he's got a lot of videos to edit. So he took a break on that too. Just I think, once in a while we need that, like to kind of like slow down and decompress, and that's why I haven't been doing a lot of my Mary Unapologetic podcast. Not many episodes lately. So the only reason why, going back to this, Katie, the only reason why I asked is because in California, I was talking to my ex-partner before that he told me the reason why we have limited access to insurance company or why the rate is high is because there's only I think two or three that are allowed to be in California as far as the insurance company, like health insurance. And I'm like, "What? I didn't know that." And so that kind of like opened up my eyes. If there's not a lot of competition, obviously it's expensive. You know what I mean? So if there's more competition, then obviously the rate will be lower.
Right.
So I don't know if that has something to do with maybe, who knows, insurance company lobbied, hey, we don't want to like saturate the market for each state because our insurance premiums gonna go down to a point
Right.
that, you know what I mean? So that's why I ask you how many insurance companies are in your state.
I don't
So
know. I'll have to actually look
mm,
that question to, but yeah, we have a broker, and I'm very thankful because when we got that, oh, your insurance is going up to this price. I said, this is as much as my mortgage. I said, this is insane.
mhm.
Like how can I afford, and not even me. How can some of these people afford if they're, independent contractors, their insurance and all the other bills?
Yeah,
Like how?
yeah. It's like it's so expensive. But guess what? What I found out is that if you have or if you're using QuickBooks,
Mhm.
they offer it now.
Do
They
that.
offer insurance, workman's comp. Yeah, they offer it.
I didn't know that. I learned
Y-
something today.
Yeah, and they also offer investments. So we should do the investment topic next time
Yes.
because I'm in a place now in our business where I'm gonna do something to kind of like put away stuff automatically, like big companies. You know how big companies like employer they will match the employees uh
Mhm.
401k or something like that. You know what I mean? Retirement plan or something. Yeah, I've done enough research and I think I'm gonna set up my business, like that.
Oh wow. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it has something to do with accounting. So we can talk about that later on. So if you want to research and,
Yeah.
well, that's what we're going to do.
Well, that's what my dad did. My dad did all that stuff at
So
Morgan.
then,
Yes, and my
okay.
girl,
So
my
we'll do that.
Mhm.
Okay, Katie, guess what? It's been like an hour and
Oh my,
5 minutes.
it doesn't even feel like it. I'm like, just we could keep talking and talking and talking.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. Let's see if I'm gonna be able to like do another episode maybe 2 weeks from now for my other podcast, and hopefully you're available.
I
That's
am.
Mary Unapologetic, folks. So we can probably talk about things that no other people in the podcast talk about.
No, that's
Give
yep.
me ideas or topic to talk about.
We are raw when we get over there.
Okay, so we're saying goodbye. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye.
We hope to see you again next time.
Mhm.